Have you ever felt like you are running a race on a treadmill that keeps getting faster and faster? You work 40 hours a week or maybe even 60. You earn a decent income, perhaps even reaching the six-figure mark. But when you look at your bank account at the end of the month, the numbers never seem to reflect the sheer amount of sweat and stress you have poured into your job. It feels like you are trying to fill a bucket that has a massive, invisible hole in the bottom. You promise yourself that next month will be different. You tell yourself that you will be more disciplined, that you will skip the expensive dinners, and that you will finally start that investment plan. But then, life happens. The car needs a new transmission. The heating bill spikes because of the winter chill. Or maybe you just have a really bad day at work and decide you deserve a little treat to feel better. By the time the next paycheck arrives, you are right back where you started, feeling exhausted and wondering where all that hard-earned money went. If this sounds like your life, I want you to know something very important. The problem is not your income, and the problem is certainly not your character. The real issue is that you are trying to build wealth using a tool that was never designed for long-term success. You are trying to use your willpower. In the world of 2026, where every single app on your phone and every billboard on the street is designed by psychologists to make you spend, your willpower does not stand a chance. Willpower is a limited resource. It is like a battery that drains every time you make a decision, from what to wear in the morning to how to handle a difficult email from your boss. By the time you have to decide whether to save money or spend it, your battery is empty. Today, we are going to change the game entirely. We are going to stop relying on your willpower and start relying on a system. I'm going to show you how to build a silent, invisible army of dollars that works for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is the path of stealth wealth. It is a system that runs quietly in the background of your life, making your success inevitable while you focus on the things that actually matter. Let us begin by understanding why our brains are practically wired to keep us broke. Human beings evolved in an environment of scarcity. For thousands of years, if our ancestors found food, they had to eat it immediately because there was no way to store it. Our brains still operate on that ancient software. When we see a surplus of money in our checking account, our subconscious sees it as a resource that needs to be used before it disappears. This is why lifestyle creep is so dangerous. As you earn more, you subconsciously find new ways to spend more. A bigger apartment, a newer car, or more expensive vacations. In 2026, with inflation still a major topic of conversation, this instinct is even stronger. We feel the urge to buy things now because we fear they will be more expensive tomorrow. But the secret to true financial freedom is not about fighting these instincts. It is about bypassing them. We need to make sure you never even have the chance to spend the money you intend to save. This brings us to the first and most critical layer of our system: automatic payroll capture. The most successful, wealthy people I know have one thing in common. They never see the money they invest. If the money hits your checking account, it is already too late. The temptation is already there. You need to log into your payroll system or your bank today and set up a split deposit. A specific percentage of your paycheck should go directly into a separate brokerage account or a high-yield savings account before it ever touches your main spending account. Start with a number that feels almost too small to matter. Maybe it is just $50 or $100 per paycheck. Because the amount is small, you will not feel the sting of losing it. But because it is automatic, it will happen every single time without you having to lift a finger. This is the out of sight, out of mind principle in action. Once that money is gone, your brain will naturally adjust its spending based on what is left. You will find yourself being more careful with your remaining balance without even trying. Now, let us talk about where that money should go. In the economic climate of 2026, cash is no longer just paper. It is a tool that needs to be protected from losing its value. The second layer of your pharaoh-like financial fortress is the survival shield. Most people call this an emergency fund, but I want you to think of it as your freedom from anxiety fund. Before you buy a single share of stock, you need $1,000 sitting in a high-yield savings account. This account should be at a completely different bank than your primary checking account. Do not even download the app for this second bank. You want as much friction as possible between you and this money. The goal of this $1,000 is to stop you from using credit cards when life throws you a curveball. When the water heater leaks or your laptop screen cracks, you do not panic. You do not go into debt. You simply write a check from your shield and move on with your life. Once you have that initial shield, we move to the third layer, the compound machine. This is where the real magic happens. For decades, the standard advice has been to pick winning stocks. In 2026, we know better. The market is too fast and too complex for the average person to outsmart. Instead, we use index funds like the Standard & Poor's 500. Think of an index fund as owning a small piece of the 500 largest and most successful companies in America. When Apple makes a profit, you win. When Amazon grows, you win. Historically, this machine has returned about 10% per year over the long term. Even if we account for the higher inflation we have seen recently, the real growth is still significant. Let us look at the math, because the math does not have emotions and it does not get tired. If you are 40 years old and you start putting $500 a month into this machine, by the time you are 60, you could have over $350,000. If you start with a bit more or have more time, that number easily crosses the $1 million mark. And remember, you did not have to be a genius. You did not have to watch the news every day. You just had to set up the automation and let time do the heavy lifting. But there is a monster in the shadows that wants to eat your compound growth. That monster is high-interest debt. If you are paying 25% interest on a credit card while trying to earn 10% in the stock market, you are losing the war. This is why our fourth layer is the Debt Avalanche. In this system, we list every debt we have from the highest interest rate to the lowest. We use our automated system to pay the minimum on everything. But we funnel every extra dollar into that highest interest debt first. Once that first debt is gone, we take the money we were paying toward it and add it to the next one. It creates a momentum that is unstoppable. By mid-2026, many people are finding that credit card companies are becoming even more aggressive with their rates. Do not let them win. Pay them off and then never give them another dime in interest again. Now we come to the part of the system that truly defines stealth wealth, privacy and security. As you begin to build this invisible empire, you will find a strange thing happening. Your confidence will grow. Your stress will decrease. But you might be tempted to show it off. You might want to buy that luxury watch or the flashy electric car to show everyone how well you are doing. I'm asking you to resist that urge. True wealth is the ability to say no to things you do not want to do. It is the ability to walk away from a toxic job or a bad situation because you have the resources to support yourself. When you show off your wealth, you invite the social tax. Friends might ask for loans they will never repay. Relatives might expect you to foot the bill for every holiday. In the modern digital age, having your financial success out in the open makes you a target for scams and unwanted attention. The truly wealthy in 2026 are those who live in modest homes, drive reliable 5-year-old Toyotas, and have 7 figures sitting in their brokerage accounts. They enjoy the peace of mind that comes from knowing they are secure, without the burden of maintaining an image. You can even take this a step further by using legal entities like limited liability companies to hold your investments. This keeps your name out of public databases and adds another layer of protection between your life and your money. Think of it as building a digital wall around your future. As we move toward the conclusion of this strategy, I want you to visualize your life 3 years from now. Imagine waking up on a Monday morning. You're not stressed about the bills because they are all paid automatically. You are not worried about your retirement because your index funds have been growing quietly every single month. You feel a sense of calm and control that you haven't felt in years. This is not a dream. It is the logical result of a well-designed system. The hardest part is the first 10 minutes. The 10 minutes it takes to log into your accounts and set up those transfers. Do not wait for a better time. Do not wait until you have more money. Start with whatever you have today, even if it is just $20. The act of starting is more important than the amount. Because once the system is running, it becomes part of your identity. You become the kind of person who builds wealth. You become a practitioner of stealth wealth. Remember, the goal is not to look rich. The goal is to be wealthy. There is a massive difference between the two. Looking rich is expensive and exhausting. Being wealthy is quiet, secure, and incredibly liberating. You have the power to change your financial trajectory right now. You do not need more willpower. You just need a better system. Go set it up today. Your future self is waiting, and they are going to be very proud of the choice you made. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you found value in this system, please consider sharing it with someone who is tired of the financial treadmill. Let us build a community of people who value freedom over appearances. I will see you in the next chapter of your journey.